Line proximity is an excellent technique to use when you're working with pen or marker to create value. However, we're using pencil, right? So this is going to be a good technique that you use when you're creating different kinds of textures, things that aren't necessarily very smooth, whereas rendering modeling, very smooth. Okay, but not everything is smooth. Like t-shirts have a texture, jeans have a texture, cotton, all those kinds of things have a texture, and line proximity helps us do that. Believe it or not, even metal has a texture that sometimes line proximity helps us achieve the different values that we see in there, as well as the different values. Typically, hatching is not used by itself when you're working with pencil. It's typically done on top of rendering and modeling or in conjunction with another texture. Okay, so don't think that this is just something you're going to be using just by itself. All right, so when you're working with this, one of the things that you make sure to understand is that you're not changing the direction of the line when you're on one side of it. So for example, what I mean is when you're working with the cube, okay, if I'm going to create my values on this side of the cube using line proximity, I'm not going to go in an angle that is different from my sides of the cube. No, I'm going to go parallel to either this side or this side. Same thing up here. I'm either going to go this direction or I'm going to go this direction with my lines, but I'm keeping them parallel. It could turn from here to here, so they could turn, but I'm not going to necessarily turn them here. All right, so the cube is the easiest one to start off with. So I'm actually going to start with my 2H pencil, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create some light lines. It's all about control. And you'll notice that a few lines create a little bit of value. It doesn't take a lot. Okay, you should be able to see that right in there. Sometimes it's hard to see, I get it. So I'm going to start once again with my 2H down here just to put down some baselines. Okay, coming in here, controlling my line as much as possible. And basically what this is doing is it's helping me establish this light value that's in here. So when I start to add in some more lines and I start to put a little bit more pressure with my lines, okay, I'm going to basically create a little bit light value in there. Going to jump once again over to my HB. Again, with line proximity, it's important to have a pencil that's been sharpened. Like I said before, drawing with an unsharpened pencil, especially when it comes to line proximity, it's pointless. And no, I'm not getting tired of making my dad jokes. Deal with it. So once again, I'm coming in here. My line doesn't have to go all the way across. Notice my line is nice and short in here, so that way I'm creating the value where I need to create the value. See that? Okay, that's the tough thing about me being left-handed, is that sometimes I cover up what I'm drawing. But you get the idea. You start to see that. And that's a little bit harsh. It's not done yet, but you get the idea. The sphere. Whew. The sphere is done in a bunch of different ways. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this, and I'm going to put it over so you could see the different ways that I could do the sphere. Okay? The sphere can be done just like you did the cube. The sphere can be done with straight lines. So I could come in here and actually add some straight lines right across the sphere. And I'm doing this really super quick. I could come in here then with my HB. Okay, when I have these dark values in here, going to actually lighten some of them over here. And notice that my line doesn't necessarily always have to go all the way across. It could be short, choppier marks. Now, when I remove this, you could see that it starts to create some sense of three-dimensionality in terms of the sphere. That's one way. Okay. Another way, so I'm going to flip this. Another way that I could do this is I could actually curve my lines. So while I could go this way with my straight lines, I could also go this way with my lines, but now curving my lines. Okay. So I could actually come in here and I'm basically curving this way. Okay, then I'm able to take my HB once again, going along with the contour of the object, the curvature of the object, and separating my lines. And basically what that produces is you'll notice it starts to kind of create a little bit of a three-dimensional quality that way. It goes with the contour of the object, so it tends to look rounder. Get it? Yes. That's another way. And then there's a bunch of ways, but I'm going to show you one last one. Okay? So With this one, this is, for me, it's probably the toughest one. It takes a lot of pencil control. So I'm going to start basically on the axis of it here, and I'm going to go fairly dark with pressure, and I'm going to start to lighten my lines that come across here. So I'm lightening my line, and I'm thinking of like an orange. Okay. Notice that I'm concentrating a lot. These lines, this is all about control. So you notice that I choked up on the pencil quite a bit. And you can practice this just like I'm doing it right now, okay? Where you're actually drawing on top of the actual still life picture. You can do that. If that's going to help you practice, decide which one you're going to do, that's fine. Notice I already, because I started talking, I drew too straight instead of curving my line. Notice how I start to come around, right? And you'll notice what that creates. You start to see that. I haven't gone dark enough in this area, but you get the idea. So again, you have a bunch of different ways that you could do this. Figure out what you want to do. This is okay to experiment here, okay? All right, I think that's good for now.